welcome to a special edition of the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. I'm joined by my co-host. You can catch him on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, VK Jones. VK, what's going on?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Appreciate y'all joining us. Good to be here. You know, we got a lot going on tonight. We got a very special guest. Like, tag, share this broadcast right here on the Hash It Out Show on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and subscribe to Vashawn K. Jones, Jared J.B. Boyd, George Peppers. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We got a very special guest. Let's get it rolling.
Also joining us from CrescentCitySports.com, George Peppers. How you doing, George?
I'm good, Jared. Ready for another great sports talk night with a great guest to lead it off, and we're gonna have some fun tonight as we always do.
Most definitely. Joining us today, this guy has a new book out called We on Fries. Also, he is the running backs coach and the recruiting coordinator for the Florida State Seminoles football team.
Oh,
Bring him back in right quick. One and only Coach David Johnson. Coach, thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Really appreciate you guys having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Well, we thank you for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Also, you got a new book called We on Fries. Tell us a little bit about this book and why you decided to put out a book.
Well, so many times through podcasts or talking to different coaches or talking to different people, they always ask me about my journey. And I've been telling them about my journey probably for the last 5 or 6 years. And a lot of people are like, man, you need to kind of write a book or just kind of put it all in a book. And actually, somebody asked me about my running backs right before the spring practice, and they asked me, how do I keep them all happy? I said, it's not about keeping them happy. They understand their purpose and they understand their role. And I just tell them we on fries. We don't worry about nothing else. We don't worry about the shakes. We don't worry about the burgers. We have nothing to do with the cash register. We on fries. 3.5 minutes. You want salt or no salt? And basically just trying to tell them we all have a purpose in life. God has made us to have a special purpose, and it's just for us. And once we realize that, man, we can kind of take off and stop worrying about other people. And that's just how I kind of broke it down, man. We on fries. Just do your job. And basically, man, whatever you've been chosen to do, whatever your purpose in life is, do that and be happy with it.
You have the nickname Yak. What does it mean and how did you get that?
Well, when I started coaching at Memphis, you know, I was coaching the receivers, and it was yards after catch. But, you know, back and forth, you know, I was at Tulane, I was at Tennessee, coached receivers, and I coached running backs. So I can't let the kids get all in there a lot of money. You know, I got to get something. So now it's yards at the contact. Got to keep reinventing.
Yes, indeed. For 12 years, you coached high school football here in New Orleans. You coached people like Craig Buster Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. What are some of your fondest memories when you were coaching high school football? Oh, seems like we lost Coach for a second. Bring him back. So, there he is. Got you, Coach. Did you hear me?
Yeah, the first one is to coach receivers. You know, everybody know him in the city a long time for coaching receivers. It used to be yards after catch. But when I started coaching running backs, I had to kind of change it up. I couldn't let them boys get all in there a lot of money. So now it's yards at the contact. You know, you had to kind of keep reinventing yourself.
Most definitely. For 12 years, you coached high school football in New Orleans. What are some of your fondest memories of coaching high school football in New Orleans? Seems like we've lost Coach again. Coach?
Coach?
Seems like we lost him again.
He'll definitely come back through his, you know.
Here he is.
Y'all got me?
Go ahead and ask that question again, Jared.
Yes, we got you, Coach. 12 years you coached high school football in New Orleans. Coach Craig Buster Davis. You coached Tyrann Mathieu. What are some of your fondest memories of coaching high school football?
I think the biggest thing is knowing the change that you can make in these young kids' lives. It probably happened, and I actually started in 1998 coaching at John F. Kennedy High School. Where I coached at my high school. I coached a kid named Devin Lewis. He was the first one. He was the first one to go to the pros. Who played for the Green Bay Packers. But it wasn't a true impact until I went to O'Para Walker and I was coaching under Frank Wilson. 2002, we signed so many kids and we had so many, but just to see those families, how happy they were knowing their kids were going to school for free 99, it kind of became an addiction to me. Like that was my ultimate goal, trying to get kids to school. We all want to win a championship. We all want to hold the trophies and try to do the best we can. But my thing is just trying to get these kids to school, man, trying to get them in a better situation.
Last season, Trey Benson had a huge year. 990 yards rushing, almost got 1,000 yards. Cam Akers, the last Florida State player to rush over 1,000 yards in a season. What makes Trey Benson so special?
Well, obviously, is his physical ability. I mean, the kid's like 6'1", 215 pounds, runs a legit 4.3, extremely pop, but he's so humble and he wants to be coached. He only played 12 plays in 2 years at Oregon. So he was taking advantage of his opportunity, and I told him it was going to take him at least 4 or 5 games before he got back in the rhythm. He was coming off a major injury. Didn't have a lot of confidence, but I told him at the end of the day, man, all his mistakes are my mistakes. Just don't fumble the ball and just go full speed. I just want you to have fun. I want you to kind of get the feel for it. And once that kid started rolling, and unfortunately we had another back to go down, but he stepped up and he just kind of took over. And I just think he's going to get even better.
The depth at Florida State is one of the best in the nation. I mean, you got Trey Benson, Lawrence Toafili, if I said his name right.
Yep.
Keziah Holmes, Rodney Hill, to name a few. You coach these guys. Speak about how important the depth at running back is important in today's game.
Because everybody's doing it. Actually, we just left, went to OTAs today with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I got a chance to sit in the running back room with those guys and talk to the running back coach. It's about a committee. You don't want these kids to get their bodies to get beat up. It's already unfortunate running backs have a very short career in the NFL. So to make it to that level, you want to be healthy and you want to sustain. So you have to find out what's your role, and I try to make sure I don't put too much on one kid. And I want all these kids to be prepared because you never know who's going to be up next, and they understand that. And I tell them all the time, they're probably not going to get the ball 25 times a game, but they do have permission to run as far as they want to every time I give it to them.
You are the recruiting coordinator also for Florida State. Personally, I want to know how hard is that job? Because I know y'all got kids on a bulletin board. You're looking at it. You want to get to Florida State. You got to travel and see kids play in the spring. Sometimes try to travel during the season. How hard is that job?
Well, I wouldn't say so much. I mean, it's definitely challenging, especially on a level like this. But it's just not me. You have so many other people working this. You have a number of people help out. From recruiting to people evaluating, and a number of coaches on the staff. But it all starts with the head coach, with Coach Norvell. He does a really good job. When you get a kid on campus, he's going to make sure he's selling the program. And we all get a chance to be ourselves. We don't have to put on the front for anybody. So, other than the travel and kind of being away from your family, that's probably the hardest part for me, being away from my family. But other than that, I love it. I love building relationships and trying to find out what kids fit with us. And I tell people this all the time, at the end of the day, you don't want to run behind the kid and try to convince him that, your spot is the best spot. You find the kids that fit with you. And I think that's evident in the running back room that we have. There's a lot of kids nobody heard about early on. Now, all of a sudden, as a group, they're one of the best running back tandems and groups in the country.
Before I pass it to VK, September 2nd, Sunday night, Orlando, Florida. Florida State versus LSU. You guys got the 1-point victory over LSU in the Superdome last year. I know we're 3 months away, but what can we expect from this Florida State team that went 10-3 last season? An incredible year. What can we expect?
I think the same thing. We take one play at a time. We want our kids to play smart, play fast, and be extremely physical. We have to limit, any type of mistakes and different things like that. But we have to play hard. Obviously, LSU is going to be a top-tier team every year. They have top-tier athletes, really good coaching staff. So we have to be prepared and be ready to go.
VK.
I'm sorry. Yes. Got a little interruption for a second. Coach, it's good to have you on the show. Good for you
Appreciate
to
it.
be here. Thanks for accepting the invitation. First of all, I wanted to ask you, your story is just now well known now in the books and everything. But can you tell the audience a little bit? Because there was one point in your career that you made an ultimate sacrifice, and it was something that really changed your life completely. And that's when you took an assistant coaching job at Millsaps College, and you had to sacrifice a lot to go and you get on, you get your first check. It's not that much, and you had to humble yourself by having some kind of sleeping somewhere unexpectedly, but the work kept on kind of humbled you. Can you tell the people your story there, those days when you had to go to Millsaps?
I think first of all, it was right after Hurricane Katrina. I had been asking God to just give me an opportunity to get into college coaching. I had been doing a number of camps at LSU with Coach Saban and Coach Les Miles. I've been doing that for years, and I said I wanted to get an opportunity to get in college. And just unfortunately, Hurricane Katrina hit. Frank Wilson was the running back coach at the time at Ole Miss. It was 24 to 27 of us in a 3-bedroom home in Oxford, Mississippi. And a former college coach who coached me at Nicholls State was the head coach at the time, David Simons, the head coach at Millsaps College. He told me he had an opportunity for me to coach the receivers. I asked him, I was really straight with him. I said, listen, I'm going to be your GA. I'm going to coach the receivers. He said, no, you're going to coach the receivers. So I got a chance to do that, and it was 2 hours away from Oxford to Jackson. An hour into my drive, I left my family there, my son Karaz at the time, probably like 8 or 9 months. I left him and my wife with the family. I went to Jackson, Mississippi. He called me an hour into the drive and told me he only could pay me $500 a month. I said, cool, whatever it is, I just want to get in the building. So as I got to Jackson, that night, it was late. I tried to stay in a few of the hotels, but once they found out I was from New Orleans, they wouldn't allow me to stay in the hotels. I had money, I had credit cards, and they told me no. They said no refugees or whatever could stay in the hotels. It was too many. So I slept in my car. And I slept in my car probably about 2 weeks. So at the end of the day, my mindset was different. I wasn't homeless. I was just the first person at work. After I read that book, I tell people all the time, after I read The Secret, I read it 12 times, watched the movie over 170 times. But my mindset changed because at the end of the day, this was the opportunity. And I tell kids all the time, your opportunity is not going to be fair. So whatever opportunity you get, you thank God for, and you keep it moving. And in those 4 years, it became, that was, I think, the training ground for me, because the very next year, Mike DeBose was the head coach at Alabama. He became the head coach. He was the defensive coordinator. He taught me so much about college football, even before I can get to this level. He was explaining everything to me. And actually, going into the second year at Millsaps that December, the school across the street, Belhaven, had offered me 26.5. They offered me 26,000. I told them they can keep a nickel. I was ready to roll.
Uh-oh. And it's kind of stopped.
Yeah, Coach froze for a second. See if we can get him back. There you go. Go ahead, VK.
Yeah. And I got an opportunity to actually go across the street to Belhaven. And they had offered me like 26.5. But Coach DeBose said, nah, just be patient. They don't know a lot of people over there. I know a ton of people. And that's what I did. I stayed, and Coach DeBose wound up redoing our contract. I was on the road all the time. But the blessing was we only traveled 52 kids at Millsaps at the time. By the time I got to my 4th year, and we was going to our 3rd championship, I recruited 35 of the 52 players, and at least 15 of those players were from Louisiana who had never heard of Millsaps. So, to me, it was a blessing, and I left there and fortunately, tripped up into getting a job at St. Augustine High School.
You go to St. Augustine, you turn around the program, and you gave St. Aug something that they haven't had in a long, long time. And I always tell anybody, the year you had, the year before you got Terry Lucas, you guys put on an unbelievable show, come up a little short against West Monroe. But the next year, you bring back Lucas, you have Leonard Fournette as a freshman. And to me, in my opinion, I know I'm an alumnus of St. Aug, but the best St. Aug offense I've ever seen. And I'm telling you this, it was because the fact of the matter is the offense was just clicking and clicking and clicking, even with people hurt. Now, when you left St. Aug, I want to ask you this. Do you kind of regret leaving St. Aug? I know the opportunity was there at Tulane, but potentially that could have been that was going to be a state championship team for you the next season.
Well, probably for the next 2 seasons, because when I got there, they only had 50 kids on the team. When I left, we had 160. And I left going into Leonard's junior year. But the year before, actually Tulane offered me a job the year before, and I turned it down. But I went, I'm telling you, after I read that book again, I was making 85,000 at St. Aug at the time, and I asked them for a raise because I wanted to make 100,000. Honestly, I just wanted to see how I feel. And at the time, they couldn't do it. They, so a lot of people don't know this. I only went to Tulane with a $15,000 raise. I only made $100,000 at Tulane. Wasn't like I made a ton of money, but it was an opportunity, and God knows what He's doing. So at the end of the day, Leonard actually stopped speaking to me probably for about 6 months after I left. We had to get back on good terms, and he kept telling me, "Say, Coach, you told me we was gonna be good." I said, "You are. I'm just not gonna be here, but y'all still gonna be good." It has nothing to do with the coach. So, and like to this day, me and Leonard still close, but they had a really good team, and me and Crutchfield would talk all the time because I still want those kids in that school to be successful. That school is something, and obviously I went to John Fitzgerald Kennedy College Prep, but 2600 is something special, and has not so much just with sports, but I just think they do a good job with our young men. They put a lot of pride into them. And when I was able to get in that building the very first time, a lot of people don't know this, that was before Hurricane Katrina in 2005 with me and Brantley Williams. Coach Payne actually hired me. I was working at the front desk at the Hilton Hotel. I wasn't even coaching. And Coach Payne hired me in 2005 that summer. And we had a really good team. Chad Jones, Ryan Montague. We had
Yes. Remember that team.
A lot of people don't even, that team, obviously never played, but that was probably one of your best teams.
Absolutely. And at the time, you talk about your time coaching at St. Aug, all of a sudden, all these years later, your son comes through to St. Augustine, and he puts on a performance of a lifetime his last couple of years, and all of a sudden he gets signed to your alma mater. Do you think this is more of like humble beginnings for you, that your son is kind of following your footsteps? And I know you said in the past that St. Aug was probably the place he wanted to go, and he did and achieved it, but now to Nicholls State, and it seemed like you're a very happy man. What are your thoughts, and how the process has been for Karaz Johnson to prepare to go to Nicholls?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know these last 2 years probably been extremely hard on my family because we've been away from each other. And my wife doesn't get enough credit. Akia Johnson, she just did a marvelous job with my son. And I would tell people all the time, because I know they'll kind of look up and look at my salary and think my son is living this lavish life in New Orleans. But he was actually sleeping on an air mattress, him and his mom. And he's never made a B. He's always made straight A's. My wife, like, no excuse. She didn't want to hear that, but I think his time at St. Aug, he's not going to realize it right now till later on how special it really is. And he worked extremely hard. And he didn't want me to help him. He didn't want me to do any favors with no scholarships or anything, because there are a number of coaches who come to me. And I say, nah, my son wants to do this on his own. If it's not with his ability and what he can do, he doesn't want to go. And actually, the coaches from Nicholls State, they never called me. They offered him. They talked to my wife. They didn't call me till later. So I found out, I asked him how real it was. He said, no, Dave, he has a committable offer. And he jumped on it. And actually this year, he's up there now. And he's going to go into this year as a sophomore because he has so many credits. He graduated with a 4.5 and a 28 on the ACT.
Awesome.
And Nicholls State didn't give him a full athletic scholarship. He got $58,000 in academic money. So this kid is really smart, and I'm just telling them to enjoy the journey. Just enjoy it. Don't be in a rush for anything. Enjoy. And this last, he had his first workout today. He said he threw up, so it was rough, but he enjoyed it. And that's what he called it to me, like, he really enjoyed it. And I just thank, again, Nick Foss and his staff for taking my son in. and doing a good job with the president and Cam Bryce. Cam Bryce did a really good job kind of mentoring him and Kyle, while I was away. Some guys who I trusted, and John Butler, police officer.
Now, I cannot wait to see what your son do at Nichols. You know what I'm saying? I'm a student myself going into my last semester at Nichols, and I will be walking with a degree.
That's
So
right.
I cannot wait, and it's gonna be amazing that I'm gonna be alumni just like you, man. So it's gonna be amazing. I gotta ask you this, and I'm gonna let George take over. Last season, I mean, tough year, a lot of pressure. You was under Coach Norvell, but you broke out, had huge victories against LSU, Miami, and Florida, and probably one of the best Florida State games you we ever seen. What are your thoughts on last season? How you overcame all the pressure, have a 10-win season, winning the state championship in Florida, and also how you felt about the season, and also how you felt getting used to going against your brother brother in itself in coaching, Jabbar Jaluk.
I think the kids, they bought in, and a lot of people don't understand. They actually bought in the year before when we were 0-4. A lot of people don't remember we were 0-4 and nobody went in the portal. These kids continued to work. They understood the process, and they were like, "Coach, we here for the long haul. Let's just get this work in." So when you have kids, and you have a head coach who doesn't panic, it all panned out. Even when we went on a little 3-game losing streak, they just didn't panic. We were just trying to find ways to do the things we need to do, and they know right now it's going to take little things. And those schools are going to continue to be tough with Miami, Florida, Clemson, and everybody obviously in our conference is going to be really tough. So we have to understand that we have to continue to do what got us here, and that's continuing, to compete, making sure we do the little things, be intense. And our kids do have mental toughness. But I think one thing about it is a player-led team right now. So they understand the brotherhood of this. So they're going to continue to commit to doing the little things. I think that's going to take us over the top. And obviously, it's always special go against Jaluk. Me and Jaluk been going against each other since he was at Willie Hall, I was at Milton. He was at Phillip, I was at Gregory. He was at St. Aug, I was at Kennedy. He was at Southern, and I was at Nichols. So without Jaluk, I probably won't be here. Me and Jaluk was actually teaching middle school together at the Dries YMCA. I had got out of coaching after that 98 year. And Jaluk the one that asked me to get back into coaching. And that's when I got, went to O'Para Walking. Obviously, Frank is like a little brother to me. But we went there just because I know Frank wanted to coach in college. So I went there trying to help him, not knowing or seeing myself in this position, but knowing that we could help him and he wanted to get to the next level. And we have a really good year. Then the next year, Jaluk take the car job. So it was something looking up to Jaluk, like, man, this guy is doing it. Maybe one day I can be able to be a head coach. And when I had the opportunity, he was one of the first people I called, always willing to help me out. Him, Marcus Scott, JT, everybody in that city when I took the St. Aug job was, willing to try to help me and to be as successful as I could be.
George Peppers.
Yes, sir. Hey, Coach Johnson. First of all, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us. We appreciate having you on. My first question is pretty simplistic. You had great success at St. Augustine here in New Orleans. You're now at Florida State. I think this is your third year, I think.
Going to my 4 year at Florida State.
Going to four. Okay. You just finished three. Do you miss coaching here in Louisiana? I mean, because you had a lot of good things happen down this way. But do you miss coaching in this state?
Yeah, you're always gonna miss your state, you miss your city.
Hmm.
I did an interview before. I told them I'm not from New Orleans. I am New Orleans. So many people have poured into me in that city. My coaches, who I still talk to, my middle school coach George Haynes, I still talk to Leroy Walker. So I definitely miss that. And you have to understand, I just have a major connection with so many people in that area. So I just told somebody the other day, man, just coaching high school or coaching kids in that area and knowing where they started from and now seeing them on this side of it, it's amazing. It's all, and I tell people, I give credit to God, man. It was all God.
Always. And you had to be happy with the success Tulane had last year, the unprecedented success that they had, winning 11 games and the Cotton Bowl against USC. I bet that put a smile on your face, too.
Definitely. I think Coach Fritz doesn't get enough credit. Really good coach. I know he's low key, but he did a good job at Tulane. You know, and that's a tough job to put together the team that he did when nobody was expecting to do what he did. And I think JJ is doing a really good job recruiting that area and
Hmm.
kind of being a connection to Louisiana. So shouts out to JJ, man. I just think he's doing a good job. But Coach Fritz he's a really good coach.
Who is your coaching inspiration that got you into coaching? Can you tell me one person that put you in the direction to be a coach?
Um, but it's kind of a twofold of that because the person I kind of model myself after and who I really looked up to was George Haynes at Gregory. He
Hmm.
did something, when I was a young person that I had never seen, an educator do because I was in his class as an eighth grader. He pulled me along and he kind of encouraged me. Well, we just wouldn't let him down. He wasn't a yeller, he wasn't a scream and then curse, anything like that. But we just didn't want to let him down. But just like I said earlier, it was probably Jabbar Jaluk when we taught in middle school, and he was like, "Dave, you really need to get back into this coaching thing." Jabbar actually thought I could be a good coach. I was actually in school at Suno to become a principal, and he told me stop acting stupid and start coming back to coaching. But I was actually in school to become a principal.
Hmm. Now let's talk about the Florida State Seminoles. Last year, as VK mentioned, you guys were 10-3. You kind of had a haphazard bowl game at the beginning, but then you really turned it on. I'm a believer in momentum carrying over. Florida State, the way they won that bowl game, dominating the second half. You have an outstanding quarterback in Jordan Travis. You talked about your backfield. I want you to talk about Jordan Travis and his development throughout your tenure there. And what do you expect from him this year?
I think he's gotten even better. I think Coach Tony Tokarz, our quarterback coach, and obviously Coach Mike Norvell do a really good job of preparing him. And he's up for the challenge all the time. I think his leadership ability is really coming to the forefront right now. Those guys are really following him. He really works extremely hard on all the little things. He approaches things that he think he's not good at, and he try to get better at them every day. But I think Jordan Travis is extremely special. I think he went through a lot as a young quarterback, but he hung in there. And you can see it, and he's going to be able to kind of tell his testimony later on about how he hung in there as a young quarterback. Now, all of a sudden, it turned around for him, and he can tell other young guys, listen, just go through the process. It's a process, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I just think he's going to be even better this year.
Looking ahead to this year, Florida State, as mentioned, you guys won 10 games last year. It's a wide open ACC. You mentioned Clemson, Miami. North Carolina is a team that interests me because of Drake May, but they don't have much defense. But the opening game against LSU, would it be an accurate statement? And I told VK this earlier. If one of y'all win this first game, could it be a game that could catapult you to some big time success for 2023?
Yeah, I think this game is extremely important. And when you're playing a challenging opponent like this early on, you kind of figure out who you are. You're not playing anybody there's no warm up game. When you're playing the guys in Baton Rouge, you better be ready. So they're going to set the tone, and I just think we can kind of find out where we are early and just kind of take it play one play at a time, one game at a time.
From what I saw from your defense last year, it got better as the season progressed. It continued to get better. It peaked in the game against Oklahoma in the bowl game. There's so many bowl games I couldn't even tell you the name of that game. But that being said, uh, yeah, the ACC, as mentioned, is wide open. What would be defined as a successful year for Florida State?
We play our best.
Okay.
That's the key right there. Just
Hmm.
trying to play your best. When you start putting numbers and different things, if you can do that, if you can play your best, and that's what we strive to do every day. We try to get better every day. If we can do that, we're going to be okay. Wins and losses will take care of themselves. If we can be able to play smart, play fast, and be extremely physical, I think we can be okay. And I just think the record, wins and losses will take care of themselves.
Of course. And my last question before I turn it over to Jared. The title of the book, We Got Fries. In Louisiana, that's not a safe thing to say, considering how many overweight people they have here. Maybe tongue in cheek. But what inspired that title?
It's We On Fries.
We on Friday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, We On Fries. Just to tell what I do with my guys, and I've always done this with the kids I coach. Just do your job, and really now it's kind of, what is your purpose? Whatever your purpose is in life, be happy with that. And I tell people all the time, man, it's about the 3 Ds: discover who you are, develop who you are, and put who you are on display. At the end of the day, everybody else is taken. You only can be yourself. And I tell my kids, don't worry about anything else. We're not complaining about anything else. We are on Fries, 3.5 minutes, salt, no salt. At the end of the day, I don't care what's going on with the cash register, what's going on with the ice cream machine, what's going on with the bird. We have nothing to do with that. If you could just worry about your purpose and your job, you're going to be okay.
Coach Johnson, I remember Coach Mike Norvell when he was at Tulsa. He was recruiting my brother to go there. He did a phenomenal job at Memphis, and he's doing a phenomenal job now at Florida State. What is it about Coach Mike Norvell that gets players wanting to play for him?
I think he's authentic, and he's always been like that. From the first time I met him in 2009 when he came to St. Aug and asked about kids, he's just himself, and the kids understand that. Now, one thing about him now, he's going to be extremely hard on you, and he's going to tell kids, even when we recruit them, listen, it's going to be tough. If you don't think you can handle it, it's probably not the place for you, because his thing is how you do some things is how you do everything, and that's from class to everything he's asking them to do. They have to be doing their best. And for the last 3 semesters, we had the highest grade point average in the history of Florida State football, because it's how we do some things, is how we do everything. So it's just not the success on the field, but it's also success off the field. And I just think he does a really good job when kids come on campus. He's the first one outside. He's helping people get out the car. He's not sitting behind his desk. He's kind of waiting, but he has that about him. And he's comfortable with in his own skin. That's what I like about him, and he's going to coach everybody when he's out there. He's not going to sit in the tower and kind of look around. He's going to be coaching. He's going to make sure everybody's detailed. He's going to hold you accountable, and he hold all the coaches accountable, and that's a part of it. And that's, I think, why we're having the success, because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, he's going to call you out on it. Not so much in a disrespectful way, but he will call you out.
VK, do you have one more question for Coach Johnson?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Got something to add on a little bit before the question. This season, if anybody didn't know, and I just discovered this, seems like Coach Norvell starting to dig to Louisiana a little more than anything else. Gabe Fertitta is going into his, I think, second or third year. Going his second year as an assistant coach, former head coach of the Baton Rouge Catholic Bears, and also Patrick Surtain Sr. is brand new coming to the staff this year, Jared and George. If you don't know, you know now. Patrick Surtain is on the staff this year as well. That's 2 big additions right there, especially for Coach Surtain to come from a very unbelievable high school now to the college level. That's big, and I know you go way back with him, Coach.
Yes, I think both of them, him and Gabe, doing a phenomenal job. The last 2 recruits we just picked up, and everybody was surprised about it, 2 Louisiana kids. You start talking about 2 receivers, so that's been big for us.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to let Jared or George close it out from here. You mentioned your wife, Akia, has been unbelievable. How much she means to you, because she seems like she's very, very supportive of you, and also your support system here in Louisiana. That has been.
Come on, VK. Okay. Bring him back. We lost him.
There you go.
VK.
Akia she's been so much to you as a companion, as a supportive wife, your family, your connection right here in New Orleans and stuff like that. Tell us how much she means to you, and also we're thinking about trying to get out there to Orlando. How the ticket sales are looking for Florida State and LSU?
Actually, the ticket sales are looking good. They're probably extremely high. They always send everything to my wife. I haven't really checked anything out just yet. We just getting back off the road. But my wife is the key to all this. She's the game changer. She's the one who don't get any credit. Everybody kind of see me on the forefront. But you're going to see a part of my book. Well, when it's time for me to go to a new job, a lot of people don't understand. I'm leaving in a few hours or the very next day. and she has to sell a house, buy a house, find a school, and it's all on her. Because at the end of the day, wherever school I go to, it's going to be the same for me with the coaching aspect of it. But she has to do that, and she's been doing a phenomenal job with it. And I just don't think she gets enough praise for it, enough credit for it. And it's really hard on college coaches' wise. A lot of people don't understand that. It is a tough deal. But like I said, she demanded a lot from my son, and I have to find ways to do better with communication on my part to make sure that she understands that she's a huge part of what's going on.
George Peppers, do you have one last question for Coach Johnson?
Not really. Just want to thank him for joining us on the show tonight.
Really, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Much success to you guys, and anything I can do
Thank
to
you.
help. I just think, just reach out to me. I just think this is important for us to continue to help each other and be blessings to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you. You're doing a great job. And I remember a couple of years ago, Coach Johnson, and it was around the pandemic time and everything else. And Florida State played NC State out there in Raleigh, and I was in North Carolina, and I reached to him. He was like, "Let me see what I can do to get you a ticket." And this man came through for me, and I really appreciate him at the time, knowing there was a lot of hard and stressful times in those days. And I want to personally thank you so much. We go way, way back, and I'm very, very happy for you, and also being a part of one of my teams, man. LSU and Florida State and LSU always be my teams to root for. So I don't know if I'm gonna come to Orlando with a split shirt or whatever, but I did had an interest in root for you guys last year because it's a rarity that Florida State comes to Louisiana. So
That was big, man. That was big, and that was like the first, after the pandemic and all that was the first time our kids ever seen the atmosphere like that. So it was huge. And shouts out to Frank and Cortez, man. They do a phenomenal job, man, and I learned a lot from those guys.
Absolutely.
Coach Johnson, thank you for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck, the best of success this upcoming season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Thank you,
too.
Coach.
Thank you,
You
Coach.
too.
Okay.
Coach David Johnson of the Florida State Seminoles. Look, guys, let's keep it real right now. Florida State, a 10-3 year last season. They bring a lot of people back. Jordan Travis, Trey Benson. This could be another phenomenal year. And with it being the last year of the 4 college playoff teams, this last year, a loss to LSU or a win over LSU can still catapult them to the playoffs. They got a great shot. Mike Norvell has changed the program around. It's finally taken off. So I think Florida State has a great shot of even winning the ACC this season. That is my opinion. It's how I feel. And I don't think I'll be wrong. BK, what you think?
Well, I'm going to say this, man. Me and you, we are on the same page. We are on the same page. I think Florida State has a great chance of having a great year. I think this game, particularly the winner, will have the inside track to get into the college football playoff. The winner of this game. Either way, it's going to be national championship aspirations for both Florida State and for LSU. I think Florida State has a great chance to have a great year again. And hopefully, here's the thing also as well, if Florida State win or lose, still can get in the playoff, the ACC has got to have a great start non-conference. If they have a great start non-conference, that helps their status, meaning guess what? Oh, the ACC is going to get into the playoff regardless of the fact. So they need to get their status up because there's been so much disrespect of the ACC for so long. It's just the fact of the matter is they don't remember when Clemson won the national championship. They don't remember Florida State. They don't remember those years, and they forget that the ACC had a winning record against the SEC and a winning record in the bowls. So people forget about that all the time. Like, oh, it's just once in a while. No, it happened 3 times. So respect the ACC. They might not be the SEC, but you got to respect them. It's 10 times better than the Pac-12.
I want you to remember Clemson. Clemson went back to a major bowl for the first time, I think, in a year, and they lost to Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, 31-14. This Clemson team, I think, is going to be good this year.
Much better.
And I think Miami's going to be better, and I think North Carolina going to be another team. I think that's your top four. So we're going to see what happens. George Peppers, your thoughts on Florida State this upcoming season?
I said this to the both of you at the close of the national championship game last year that a team to keep an eye on going forward is Florida State. Nothing that has changed from January to now, May 31, has changed my mind at all. Now, where I see the keys to their season, obviously, it's LSU to open the year. Another intersectional game VK and I were talking about. If we're talking about the ACC having to have success in a non-conference, how about this one? If North Carolina gets South Carolina to open up. That's a pretty good win if they can grab that. South Carolina had a nice little run last year,
Yes.
decent run. And if North Carolina gets them, North Carolina picks them off. That's one win in the belt for the ACC. I kind of disagree on Miami. I'm not as bullish on Miami. I don't think that's a team that's on the front page of the conference. I feel like there's a lot of square pegs in the round holes. I just don't. I mean, Mario Cristobal is a good coach. I think he needs another year to kind of square things away. It looked like they looked a little discombobulated last year. I do agree with North Carolina. If North Carolina finds a defense, that's your other sleeper. Clemson. Here's the thing with Clemson that kind of puts a cause for pause for me. Remember, they were struggling with DJ Ulalagi, whatever his him. He's now at Oregon State, and I forget the kid that took over, but he looked wide-eyed in the bowl game against Tennessee. You know, and Tennessee minus Hendon Hooker, and they got run out the Orange Bowl. You know, they were never competitive, Clemson, in that game. So, you know, Florida State comes into this year the right way, gentlemen. That's him, but he's got the tools. He just looked like a deer in lights against the Tennessee team that, quite frankly, his defense was not very good. They relied a lot on their offense. You know, Tennessee's offense was super good when Hendon was healthy. And even when he went out, they still were able to put points, not at the pace of Hendon Hooker, but their defense left them haggard. And Clemson just got run. And I feel like Florida State's got a golden opportunity to knock off LSU. Granted, I mean, Logan Diggs is going to be in that backfield. I'm curious to see how Brian Kelly what game plan he employs against a pretty robust Florida State defense with Jaden Daniels, with Logan, and how does he attack this Florida State defense? Because their guys at the front are pretty good.
Yeah, Leo, we already had Coach Johnson on. You just missed him. We just ended our interview with Coach Johnson. You just missed him.
Look, go back and watch.
Oh yeah, he will. Leo knows. He just go to my page and restart the video once we are done. He knows that. But yeah, we had a good interview with Coach Johnson, Leo. Look, guys. Look, I still say it's coming down between Clemson and Florida State this year. And I just feel something special about Florida State this year. I really do. I really do. But Jordan Travis, that's the main key. Yeah, they got Trey Benson and running back, but Jordan Travis is the man for this squad right here. Trey Benson could have went pro. He stayed another year. So you got your backfield is lethal.
Jordan Travis really has grown last season to this year. And it's amazing his maturation finally came together last year. As a Florida State fan myself, I was so proud of seeing what I'm seeing because all I seen from Jordan Travis in the past was maybe another Chris Ricks, and it didn't happen. And I was so glad. Now Travis has the chance of taking charge. And I think if he takes charge and stays healthy, Jordan Travis is going to lead this team to a potential national championship and definitely the ACC. But the team to watch out for in the ACC, you know what I'm saying? The team is Clemson, but another team I would maybe that might throw a monkey wrench into the thing.
We're listening.
Georgia Tech. Look out for them because they were so competitive last season. It wasn't even funny. and 5 of their losses only was by 3 to 6 points. Georgia Tech might
I agree.
wreck
I
somebody
agree.
because,
Georgia
like I
Tech,
said, they might. And I'm like this: Georgia. I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Georgia Tech going to a bowl this year. They're gonna win a lot of those games this year. They're going to a bowl. They will go to a bowl this year, and I think they're gonna upset some good teams. They could put a monkey wrench because remember, we seen a Georgia Tech team that was really bad that kind of ruined Florida State's muster and a chance for them to go deep in the
Block 6.
yep. Mark Jones jinxed everything. So
Oh man, stop it.
no, I'm
Stop.
telling the God honest truth. I love Mark Jones, but he jinxed that kicker. Remember, the kicker didn't miss a kick that season. He didn't miss a kick
he missed
until
out.
he missed it, and he missed it.
He
It
missed
got
that
Last
one.
blocked.
time.
It got was it blocked a little bit partially, and then
Block.
blocked, and he took it all
Okay,
the way
guess
back.
what? When a kick is blocked, it goes into the attempt. So it's a miss.
I know, but I'm saying he shouldn't have said anything. Let it go and whatever.
Oh man.
One of the most
Man,
Okay, come
stop with
on,
that
man.
gree
I give
nonsense.
it is gree because plain and simple. I give Georgia Tech a little credit, but probably one of the most flukiest victories I've ever seen. But
Oh
Georgia
wow.
Tech was definitely competitive last year, and they're going to be much better this year.
Okay.
Jared, spoken like a true Seminoles fan.
Let me say this
Like
right
a
quick.
Michigan fan, you are.
And
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna answer Leo's question at the same time. So Georgia Tech has a brand new head coach this year. Brent Key is the new head coach. Because remember, they wanted Willie
Yep.
Fritz. So as you're saying, Georgia Tech, they lost these close games. They're gonna be better. That may be true, but also Brent Key might be bringing in a brand new system. So it's possible with this new system.
Off the break.
It might not happen this season. Might wait till next season. We'll see. But you made a good point because of what they did last season. But we'll see. George Pepper's last word on Florida State ACC.
Well, to VK's thing about Georgia Tech, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm with you. I think Georgia Tech put their eggs in Willie Fritz's basket, and when that swung and missed, I don't want to say they settled because Brent Key, from all accounts, the word is that he deserves an opportunity to be the head coach and whatnot. I don't know the man's pedigree or whatnot. I know he was on their staff, but they really, really pushed for Willie Fritz, and when Willie said no, he took the job, and you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I kind of get the idea, but the ACC, mid-level of the ACC, Georgia Tech's not that far off in the gap of talent. They can pick off a couple of those mid-level games. If they could squeeze one out of the top tier, like a Miami, like a North Carolina, then yeah, VK's right. I think this is a bowl team, but it may take a little bit of time. I think Georgia Tech will be a team better than they are at the end than they are at the start. But at the end of the day, I'm on Florida State. I saw 20-1 to win the national championship. I might take a shot at that.
All right. Moving on. A friend of ours.
Hopefully we can get to Orlando for the LSU game. That's what I'm hoping for.
We'll see. We'll see. Now, a friend of ours who was on the show lost a summer league game. All right. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say the score. But the type of disrespect this person received is mind-blowing. And to me, we as people need to do better. Coaches will always get criticism on the way they coach, how they finish coaching a game. It is part of the sport. Coaches will get criticized. It's part of the sport. But man, when we start blatantly disrespecting a person's character, their gender, we're crossing the line, people. We're crossing the line. I mean, I'm not going to say what was said to this coach through Twitter, but man, it had me scratching and shaking my head because it was just total disrespect that wasn't called for. You don't stoop to another level where this person's family saw what was being said about her, and it was pretty bad. I'm not going to say what was said, but it was pretty bad, and people got to do better. Like I said, yes, coaches get criticized. I mean, we've all probably criticized coaches before. We probably said a coach lost a game this certain way. Why that coach did that? We've done it. But to blatantly disrespecting the type of name call this person got, oh man, it's uncalled for, man. And we need to do better. We need to do better. George Peppers.
Listen, it's May 31, 2023. It is 9:10 p.m. As a society, we are failing right now. And I'm not going to even give said troll that said that the audience and the opportunity to repeat what was said. All we know was it was a debilitating, disgusting, reprehensible, completely disgraceful comment. And to that person, you need God in your life, my friend. Whoever you are, you need God in your life, because for a human being to have that kind of hatred in your heart and in your soul, you've got massive issues, massive. And to the person we're talking about, I don't know if you want to make mention of who we're talking about, Jared. I'll leave that in your hands. But and for until you do, um, when I saw it on Twitter, because I follow the person on Twitter,
Me too.
not the
Yeah.
troll,
The coach.
not the
The coach.
troll, the coach. I follow and I saw that, and I'm like, dear God, it's 2023. We got to be better in all facets of life with what's going on in this world right now, with everything that's going on, with tribulations and trials and everything that's happening, and and what we're going through as a society. We need to be better. We need to do better. And look, none of us three are perfect. We have criticized coaches before. The three of us, all three of us have criticized coaches in one fashion or another. But I know for a 100% unbridled fact that none of us three would stoop to the level that this bastard stooped to.
No.
And I'm sorry I'm using such strong words. I mean, I could think of one more, but we're a family show. Let's leave that be alone. And VK, I mean, you and I have done prep sports together since 2006. I tell you what, if I was this person's family, that troll would have caught hands massively.
Go ahead, VK.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna do my best to go in the third person since Jared is not gonna mention the person's name. If he wants to, it's on him. But I'm gonna do my best to stay in third person so we won't give away who
Who it
that
is.
who it
Mm-hmm.
is that was on our show before. Now, I understand sometimes people feel some certain ways about people coaching. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, what this person said has went too far. If he is close or from that area that school or whatever came from, or usually be frequent at the games, if I was the school, ban him. Don't let him come to any games. We see in your comment, you are not welcome here. Take your butt home. Don't come here. We don't need your support. We don't need you. So go ahead home. So that's what should be done first of all, if he's associated with that particular school or team. The second thing I gotta say about him, I tell the any fans like this: get a freaking life. Go get a life. Do you work? Do you do anything? Do you have a career? Do you have a family? Do you have children? Go get a life. Go take a vacation. Go do something with your life. Do something with yourself instead of wasting your time being a quote unquote freaking keyboard warrior. That's what you are, as a keyboard warrior. All I gotta say to you, go kick rocks and go do something with your life. Kick rocks and go do something with your life. And it's summertime. Go take a vacation. Go to the beach. Go somewhere. And go screw yourself sometimes. That's what you need to do. I know it's a family show, but to be honest with you, go screw yourself and go enjoy yourself and go on a vacation or something. Straight up, man. Cause I'm not giving no more energy to an idiot like this. And people like that needs to be checked And people like that need to be cut off. Cut them by the seams if you see them. You ain't got to stoop to their level, but cut them off by the seams quickly, mentally, and be like, I'm going to go this way. You stay over there.
All right, you heard it from us three. Last topic, and we'll get out of here. Shannon Sharp is leaving undisputed. You heard it. You heard it. You haven't heard it. You heard it right here. Shannon Sharp is leaving.
Breaking
undisputed.
news.
He's leaving. And his show, Club Shay Shay, is also leaving Fox also. So where Shannon's gonna go, we don't know. What's your thoughts, VK?
Now, I didn't realize that Club Shay Shay was associated with Fox as well. I thought this was his own thing, just like the Pivot having their own little thing and stuff like that. That the Pivot is separate from ESPN and everything else. So I thought that Club Shay Shay was separate, but I didn't know they were associated with Fox as well. So I think it's gonna be. I think Shannon's gonna continue with Club Shay Shay, but on his own, not having the Fox moniker, and he's still gonna have the big numbers, and the big numbers tell it itself. So he's gonna be just fine. I think he's gonna run with Club Shay Shay because it's a really, really good podcast. He does a really good job. He has the connections to every star in Hollywood and also in sports. He's really doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? And I know without a shadow of a doubt, I wouldn't be surprised he might go on the 85 South show now, since now he's going to be away from Fox. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people have contractual reasons for not joining people on a certain podcast, like we've been trying to get certain people on this show. But at the same time, the networks is like, hey, contract says you can't really go here. Contract says you can't go on this show. But I think now is going to be freedom for Shannon Sharp. I think Shannon got a little tired of Skip. I think he's done an unbelievable job just debating, doing a great job on the show.
Great job.
And not having no fear of Skip Bayless and bringing the thunder to Skip. I love it. But now I think Skip has done it again, just like he did ESPN. Just go a little bit over the line and causing kind of rifts and all that stuff. It's not surprising. And I thought at first, and there was rumors in the past, that Skip Bayless was about to be out at Fox. There was a lot of rumors with that, but it didn't happen. So I think with that being said, that made Shannon Sharp think a lot, especially with the comments that he's made recently in certain subjects and everything else. And I think Shannon got tired of it, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna do this NBA finals, do this coverage, all this little stuff. When we get to the dead of night for sports, I'm out.
George Peppers.
Well, let's talk about what really precipitated it. Before I do, I just saw something break on ESPN. Today is the last day for collegiate basketball players to stay or withdraw at the NBA draft.
Yep.
A pretty big withdrawal. Zach Edey, the player of the year, has withdrawn out of the NBA draft and is going back to Purdue. So they could lose again to a 16th seed next year. But I digress. I digress. Now, moving on, talking about what really is the precipitator, what started it. Skip's incessant interruptions and bias is one thing, but I think what really really encompassed it, the whole segment with the tweet about DeMar Hamlin and the complete insensitivity. VK, you touched on that. He was in trouble with Fox. Skip says he wasn't. Lies. Fox was ready to punt that dude out the door, but Skip had to pivot and basically shut himself down. But I think what it really says, it's a defeat for good sports talk, for sportscasters today. This is a loss for good sportscasters. And it's going to sound crazy because we are sports talk hosts. I say sports talk, we're sports talk hosts. It's a loss for us today because somebody like Shannon Sharp, who keeps it real, granted, he's a big LeBron fan, but you know what? He buttons it down when it needs to be, when it has to be. And you know what? He did something Skip didn't do. Remember when Shannon got in trouble with that brouhaha against the Grizzlies at Crypto earlier in the season?
Yep.
What happened? Shannon came on and said, I I misrepresented Fox. I misrepresented myself, and I completely apologize for my actions. And whatever becomes of it will become of it, meaning disciplinary, probably sensitivity training, or not really sensitivity training, but basically like, hey man, chill out, don't do that again. And I just saw a comment saying the moral compass is exited. That's what makes me think today's a loss for sports hosts. Because somebody like Shannon loses to Skip Bayless. He's out after 7 years. And when he first started, oh, says who? I mean, you're right about the sensitivity part, but when he started, I remember watching those first batch of shows, and I saw Shannon, and I said, you know what, this dude's got it. He's got that it factor to be that guy to objectively speak and not speak out of emotion, unlike his cohort Skip Bayless, who got checked quite a few times. Remember, he got checked on ESPN by Jalen Rose hard with the GPA thing, and I thought, God bless America. Beautiful. And then the other time he got embarrassed was when Richard Sherman took him to the woodshed, because he caught Skip trying to play the association game. And Richard said, hold up, I'm a Stanford grad. What are you? You know, and whatnot. I'm going to miss Shannon, but I tell you what, I don't think he's going to be gone very long. I don't know if there's a non-compete with sports.
They do.
That's something I do not know. They have a
They
non-compete.
have it also.
So is it 60? I think 90.
It could be a month to 3 months. It could be 6 months.
Mhm.
We don't know.
You know what?
But
You know where I see him?
uh,
I could see him going onto CBS Sports Network or get on the NFL Today again,
I don't
because
think
I want
he goes
that
back to
guy.
CBS. I don't think he goes back to CBS.
I mean, that's where he had his first success.
Yeah, they fired him.
You
They
know,
let him go.
which I think they regret that now with what the success he attained. Now you think they're not going to want him back? Now, no, he's not going to Stephen A. Smith. There's no shot, Leo. Not a chance. There's a better chance of elephants. There's a better chance
Hey,
of 15
look,
elephants flying over the moon.
quick question. Quick question. I'll let you go, George. You think
Go
Stephen
ahead.
A would try the type of stuff that he tries with JJ Redick and Jay Williams with Shannon Sharp? I don't think he'll try
Not a chance.
it.
Not a chance. Not a chance. There's a better chance of a fat man eating carrots instead of a steak.
I think
I mean, come on.
Shannon Sharp would punk him bad,
Like hard.
bad,
Like real hard. He'll
bad.
check him to the he might check him into that
You seen
hotel
it in the
too.
past. You seen it in the past when it was together a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Shannon is not intimidated by Stephen A. I give him more.
But
I give him more chance than Michael Irvin. You know what I'm saying?
did you see the Undisputed where the day after it happened, Damar Hamlin, having to have him be resuscitated twice.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch that Undisputed? I did.
I watched the
And
first segment with Skip by himself.
yeah, and what Skip said was just abhorrent. Talking about this game is important. It was for the number one seed. Who gives a bleep? Really? We're talking about a man's life. 23. How old is Damar? 24, I
24.
think.
24.
Yeah, he's 24. We're talking about a 24-year-old young man fighting for his life, flatlined twice on the field. Flatlined twice. They had to resuscitate him twice before they got him on the ambulance and took him to the hospital. It's a God-given miracle that he's here with us today still. And you know what would be the ultimate victory for Damar? When the Buffalo Bills play again next season, Damar Hamlin hits the field. Can you imagine the pop he gets in that stadium when he hits the field? Man, that's going to be emotional, big time emotional. But for Shannon, what's that? No, I was going to say, but where Shannon Sharp winds up, I mean, we could guess. I mean, NBC, but I think they got a conglomerate of people there. I don't think that would work. ESPN, if it does, I think they'll give Shannon the lead spot on a sports block. I don't think Shannon goes to First Take. I think he would fit perfectly following First Take. Remember, they tried that with Max Kellerman, and Kellerman didn't quite work out. I think Shannon would they would do something like that with him. I think Shannon Sharp would wind up on ESPN on the sports block and have a prominent role in other facets of the network as well.
I think CBS will. I think CBS and Leo. I agree. And I
Yeah, I'm
said
with
that a
Leo
couple
too.
of minutes. I think he will stick with his podcast. I think he's going to make sure that he talks with Fox and make sure Fox is off this thing and it'll be just him running it. So I think he's going to continue. Hopefully he does, because he does a great. And yes, I agree. Podcasts are making a lot of serious money. Look at how the pivot with Ryan Clark and also Channing Crowder and also Fred Taylor, how they making their money right now. How 85 South comedy show is blowing up by the seams. So a lot of these podcasts, even small podcasts as well, getting some deals and out there. I know a couple podcasts out of Texas, they making some nice money. You know what I'm saying? It's about the deals you get. It's about how everything can be lucrative and everything else. So yes, absolutely. Drink. Yes, thank you, Leo. Another great podcast, Drink Chaps and Revolt. How they've been having a whole lot of podcasts coming through there. Big shout out to Puff Daddy. All these podcasts, all in rotation. That's what's making Revolt blowing up more right now, more than anything else. The money is coming in and flowing. I think Shannon can stick with that. He's got to make sure he talk with Fox to make sure the Fox a little cease and desist or whatever you want to call it, to make sure Fox is off the Club Shay Shay thing, or he's gonna have to, you know. That's an interesting point, Leo. You
We'll
have to
see.
think. You have
We'll
to think.
see.
That's a
We
good
will
idea,
see.
Leo. Because here's
We
the
will
thing:
see.
Revolt and Puff Daddy, it's a lot of freedom. It's
It
a
is.
lot of freedom.
It is.
So you might be right. And
We
Shannon
will
could say,
see.
Shannon go keep things clean, but some things gonna slip, and Revolt
Oh,
don't
without a
mind.
doubt. Without a doubt.
Revolt don't mind at all. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Yep.
So it's huge, yeah.
Skip only for the ratings. It's money. The more controversial, the better. Social media loves this. Yeah, the truth, Big
Yeah,
D.
that's true,
That's
BD.
facts,
It's
Big
big
D.
time, big
Big time
time.
facts.
Because
Yes.
Skip should have been fired for what he said, but it's amazing how Fox.
Fired or suspended. Which one?
I'm gonna say this to be real. In my
I'm gonna
heart,
say suspended. I'm not gonna say fired.
in my heart, suspended. In my mind, to be real, suspended. I would have suspended him from the jump at least for a month or a month and a half, or maybe two, and come back. You know what I'm saying? But he needed to have consequences done to him after what was said, because there's too many people that got consequences. Look at the Oakland A's radio announcer that they suspended him indefinitely and then fired him for after what he said.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
He
So
should have been. He should
I
have been
agree.
fired.
No,
I mean,
no, we agree. We agree with
okay,
that. We
because
agree.
and for those who don't know, and I'm not going to repeat what he said. It's a reprehensible comment. It's a derogatory comment and a racial slur. Look, when you broadcast, as long as when you do what we do, VK, now you've been doing this a good long time. And Jared, you're into this. I mean, you don't have the skins on the wall that we do yet. You're getting them, and this is not a slight. But I'm saying the more you broadcast, the more you do sports talk, the more immune you become to saying stupid things. And Kuiper, was it Dwayne Kuiper? Okay,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Oakland
yeah.
A's announcer.
That's it.
Okay, he has a brother that played with the San Francisco Giants back in the day. That's how I know that. But when you give a PSA, a public service readout, you read it as such. You do not interject stupidness like he did. But backtracking to what y'all saying about should Skip be fired? No, no, because and sadly he's a ratings grabber. Look at Undisputed's ratings.
Mhm.
That's all. That's all you need to know.
Ratings
You
and
put him in sensitivity training. Yes. You suspend him. Yes. Fire him. You want your ratings to go like the Titanic? There you go. Let him go and see what happens. But you better have a hellified replacement in place.
is
Most definitely,
ratings and
GP.
ratings
Most
and
definitely. Most
ratings
Yep.
and
definitely.
it brings money.
Last word, VK. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Last
Ratings
word.
and
Go ahead.
ratings and it brings money. But then on top of that, look at his nationality too. Let's be honest and let's be real. I've been in this industry for a long time. And is there racism in this industry?
Oh
Hell
God, no,
yeah. And it continues. Because trust
man.
me, as much as people of color don't get as much opportunities as anything else, but all of a sudden when the brother gets out, we're blackballed. But when somebody of that nationality and color they get fired, guess what happens? About 3 weeks or a month later, they get another job somewhere else. I didn't see that for too long. And then sometimes they hold on to certain people for a long time because of the ratings thing, of the money thing, and the loyalty thing. It's never was loyalty for us brothers and sisters in men and women of color and other nationalities. Trust me, it's just been crazy. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Not knocking Skip because he has the experience.
What you said is true, very true. But did you go on a vent just now?
I did went
Kind of,
on a
sort of.
little event because and you have to think about this as a man of color who's been in this business and seen hell and high water in and out. I had to rant because I'm speaking for all those people who worked their behinds off and never got that opportunity. I got a very few opportunities myself, and I thank God for people like Ken Trahan for giving me an opportunity in this business. There are people in this business that didn't give a damn about me, and I'm being straight up with that. I forgive them and went on with it, but I don't trust them for nothing in the world. But at the same time, right now, I've been proving myself over the years that I'm consistent and I'm as good as anybody. So that's just me. Like Ryan Clark said on the pivot about him getting an Emmy, he said he wanted to be better than Stephen A, better than all these other people to get where you need to get. But as an African American, but not just African American person, but other people of nationalities and other people of color, the mentality is you have to be better than that other person to get where you need to be. Despite the others who get it in easy and mostly by nepotism. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. It's been like that for a long time, Jared. And trust me, you just getting into it. You've been with me before,
I believe you.
but
I'm
trust
not
me,
down you.
George knows what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous and crazy because you can be qualified for a job that you've been working for a long time, and people that has done this for 10 years and stuff. This is my little biggest criticism. I'm gonna go on. Besides the quote unquote Caucasian people, whatever you want to call it, who's been in those jobs. Some of the jobs that we worked on and everything else, you know who's getting those jobs that we worked hard for to get those opportunities, and not just for people of color, other nationalities? Athletes. Athletes has been taking up positions. And I understand the knowledge they give and everything. No knocking that. I get it. But we bring knowledge too. We know as much as them. And you won't hire the quote unquote athletes who's been in the NFL.
Mhm.
Not knocking that. Not knocking that. I see the knowledge they give. But guess what? They did took a lot of our jobs. And we got to fight our way to get where we need to be at.
I'm gonna go buy me some a sound thing, and every time VK go on his rant, I'm gonna hit a siren. Woo!
Yeah, there you go. But let me interject about he brought up color, and
Last
this is
word. Go
a
ahead, George. Go ahead.
okay. This is a cutthroat business. You got to go get. It's like squirrels trying to get a nut. You better go get it fast because there are people that will cut you, but there are people that will loyal and that will be loyal to you. We differentiate easily to the loyalty part. And oh wow, Leo's calling you out, VK, but we'll hold off
Yeah,
on that
right.
for a second.
Go ahead.
But he brought up an insane idea. Skip Bayless and Lil Wayne, nah, bro, you tripping hard, Leo. No, that ain't happening.
He's
Uh,
being sarcastic. I promise. He's
Ryan
being
Clark and
sarcastic.
Skip is interesting.
I know,
Ryan,
but
Ryan,
That's
as a
interesting.
go ahead, George.
as a Caucasian, I understand the plight. Maybe I'm one of the few that do. You know, I understand the inherent biasness and prejudice in some instances. I get it. Is it prevalent? No. It is isolated more than it is prevalent. I think it's more isolated. It is a problem. One is too many. in my book. I've always said that one racist is too many in my book. We are in a completely different age now. We're not growing up with segregation or any of this foolery that happened back in the 50s and 60s and all that stuff. I don't think I could exist back then. That's just me, because I'd be the one that to defy all that. But we're almost to June now. Oh, by the way, tomorrow's hurricane season opening day. Anybody got plans? Nope, I don't. But as far as what we're talking about, it's there. Do I think it's a problem? Absolutely. Do I think it's correctable? That's on the people in the charge. And Jared, I'm going to say this: athletes getting all these jobs do crap on the kids that get a degree and in this field. What am I
Leo,
supposed to do?
big shout out to you, Leo. We
All right,
appreciate
there
your
you go.
knowledge. We
Yeah,
appreciate your
we
knowledge.
appreciate the look and strongly encourage the participation throughout the show. You guys can have any questions for us when we're not guesting people. You guys can ask us anything and we'll answer. Anything
That's
within
right.
reason. Let me qualify that. Anything within reason. Now this weekend obviously is going to be a pretty good weekend. Why? Because the regionals of the NCAA tournament start. 4 Louisiana teams are in it. We wish all four the very best. Obviously, three can make it out because one won't. It's either LSU or Tulane won't make it out. Somebody out of there is not going to get it. Lafayette uh, is in a tough regional. Alabama, I mean, Nichols is in a tough spot. But you know what? We wish all the success in the world to those kids. And congratulations to Delgado. They got knocked out yesterday. Finished a hell of a year. Joe Sherman, we love you. We'll have you back on. We hope for more success, better success next year. But on that note, this was another great show, Jared. I appreciate the fact that we can do this every day, every time we do it, and it's fun. VK, safe travels. I know you're going to be in Baton Rouge Friday,
I will
and
be
for the
covering.
regional.
Yes, I will be covering
Mm-hmm.
the LSU regional. I actually got called by Crescent City Sports to do the game story for LSU Tulane on Friday afternoon. So please go to Crescent City Sports for the big game recap. It will be right there Friday evening. They told me the protocol. It ain't gonna be no next day. It will be going on Friday night. It will be
Get
Friday
it,
afternoon
get it
game,
done.
but the story will be out on Friday night. It will be out Friday night. So please
Okay.
go and read it. Great opportunity for Ken Trahan and for Crescent City Sports, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. You know what I'm saying? Any opportunity is good opportunity. And I really appreciate it. I've just been flourishing over the years and everything. And it's fun to come on this show. And it's fun as a team and what we do and everything else. We're gonna be bigger and better, you know what I'm saying? So this is a great thing to do that we do every week, and I think this is going to help me survive the summer, especially my last semester. And I got one question. One of y'all guys got Disney Plus?
No,
God,
I do not.
dog, man. Oh, don't worry. But hey, I enjoy this. I wish everybody can come on. I hope the numbers was good tonight, man. I know it was a lot of people just straight up, what I'm saying, hash it out
I'm
loud.
meant to.
Leo, I wish we can do that. I don't have the capabilities Jared has for one, and then for two, like it could be a possibility, maybe, but we'll see. That's a Jared JB boy decision because LSU and Tulane do play at 2 o'clock Friday, so that's on Jared if he wants to do a Friday show. But
No, he's saying do it out there.
do
He
it
said
out
do it
there.
out there live.
Oh man,
That's what he
see,
said.
I'm the only one that's gonna be there. That's
Yeah.
that's the only problem. You know what I'm saying? I wish Jared can get credentials, and Jared got personal stuff he's got to deal with. So that's why we can't really do that out there. You know,
One day, Leo. One day.
one day we're gonna do live remotes. So trust me, that's coming down the line. We might do live remotes from maybe Thursday high school football, or probably do a little something from certain colleges and whatever. So that'll be the next thing. We gonna work on that. We're gonna
All
definitely work.
right. All right, guys. Let's
All
go
right,
ahead and end this right now.
let's go.
Everybody that tuned in, we thank y'all. We appreciate it. Keep tuning in. Share it. Subscribe to JB Your Sports Guy. Subscribe to VK Jones. Check out George Peppers on Facebook, George Peppers, and catch him on Twitter also. But thank you for tuning in. Special thanks to Coach David Johnson. Leo, go back and see it. Definitely. But other than that, we'll be back next week. We'll have some guests. And other than that, just stay tuned and continue to watch us. We thank y'all so much. For VK Jones. Leo says, wait, what, Leo? Get it out.
Whoa, what is it? What you got?
Wait, breaking news. What's the breaking news you got, Leo? Come on. Breaking news from Leo.
Oh,
whoa. Monty Williams to the Detroit Pistons. That
George, can you give me confirmation?
Whoa. Big time news. Man. Wow.
Where is he finding it?
Actually, I got it myself here. Breaking news: Monty Williams and the Pistons agreed to a 6-year, $78.5 million contract to become the Detroit Pistons head coach.
It is.
What is that? Twitter? I can't.
No, ESPN.
Okay.
That's breaking news. Just came down.
Breaking news. Leo. Shout out to Leo. Definitely. Monty Williams to the Pistons. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all. Tune in next week. Until then, y'all.